he's the king. So you think you guys got a lot in common? In some aspects.
Terence Crawford, in preparation for his fight against Israel Madrimov, has been training with Floyd Mayweather.
But as of right now, I have to put Terence Crawford as #1.
And after a sparring session with the 50-0 legend, Terence Crawford had much to say about Floyd and even spoke about the comparison that boxing fans had always tried to draw between him and Mayweather. Mayweather has had the accolade of training many great fighters over the years, with the likes of Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, and Gervonta Davis being beneficiaries of Floyd Mayweather's wealth of boxing knowledge. His latest trainee is Terence Crawford, and he did have some words to share with his fans of his time with Floyd Mayweather. Well, you might wonder why Terence Crawford, a professional fighter with 40 fight experience, was seeking Mayweather's help at such a late hour, a few fights away from his retirement. His reason isn't far-fetched, however. Terence Crawford's next fight marks his debut at 154 pounds. As a result, he turned to Floyd Mayweather, who is a former world champion at the same weight class, for some lessons. Recently, in an interview, Floyd Mayweather brought back memories of his famous fight against Canelo Alvarez at the weight class.
That's gave the sport of boxing their whole life and sacrificed a lot inside that square circle. They should feel that way. So if he feels that way, more power to him.
I have one fight, and the fight was at a catch weight, but it wasn't my idea. Anyone can hoe online and pull this up. It was an article, so with Canelo. At one time, I believe Canelo thought I was scared of him, that I was afraid. So he said, Floyd doesn't want to fight me. I'm willing to meet him at 152 or 152.5 pounds.
I had one fight, and the fight wasn't actually at a catch weight. It was at a catch weight.
And me, I called his bluff and said, if you want to do it, let's do it at 152 or 152.5. But after Canelo made the weight, it wasn't like it was a certain clause where he couldn't gain weight. He weighed 152 or 152.5. I think he came in at 168 or close to 170, but I came in at 151 or 152.
It was an article. So with Canelo said, I believe Canelo at one particular time thought I was scared of him, that I was afraid. So he said, Floyd don't want to fight me. I'm willing to meet him at 152 pounds or 152.
Perhaps Terence Crawford felt this was good enough for him as well, since he had so much to learn about the new weight class he'll be moving to in less than a month. Despite the fact that boxing fans have severally drawn comparisons between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Terence Crawford, Bud refused to deprive the 50-0 boxing champion of his rightful honors.
He's the king. So you think you guys got a lot in common? In some aspects.
Terence Crawford appreciates Floyd Mayweather, and when he was asked about their similarities, he had a few more things to say as well. He's the king, Crawford praised and acknowledged Floyd's greatness. He then continued, we have quite a lot in common in some aspects, but we're a little different because I take more chances. Earlier in his career, he was taking a lot of chances in his career as well.
I take more chances.
Excuse me, Crawford.
Right now. But earlier in his career, he was taking a lot of chances as well.
It just depends on which Floyd Mayweather you're talking about. I mean, you're talking about money or you're talking about Pretty Boy, because Pretty Boy was the seeking destroyer. Then he started having hand injuries, so he couldn't really keep up with the same power. And he was moving up and fighting bigger.
Money, or do you talk about Pretty Boy? Because Pretty Boy was the seek and destroy fighter.
Like Crawford said, they have quite a lot in common. However, boxing fans and supporters have compared both fighters to discover the better fighter. And when they did, a news source put Crawford as the likelier winner of a fight between the two fighters. When it comes to pure boxing ability, you'd be hard-pressed to find another producer of more sweet science masterclasses than Floyd Mayweather Jr.
He's going to reach from the left hooks again. And the lightning hand speed extraordinary. Left hook drops him.
The crisp jab, precision, timing, and counterpunching ability all empowered Mayweather to pick his long list of opponents apart, and he did it over 2 iterations of himself. Just as Crawford said, Pretty Boy Floyd was the more aggressive boxer, bringing the fight to opponents, while Money Mayweather years later would compute and edge opponents out with brilliant boxing. Whichever style you prefer, both bodies of work made the legend that is Floyd Mayweather Jr. Comparatively, boxing fans are still in awe of what Crawford did to Spence in his last fight.
He drops him again. That's a hard knockdown that time.
Whether it was a power jab that he repeatedly snapped through Spence's guard, punching in traffic, or the timing of his counterpunches, Bud exhibited supreme boxing ability. And it wasn't the first time, but we've never seen it like that against a fighter of Spence's caliber. When talking pure boxing ability, arguably nobody should get a push over Mayweather. But Crawford's style of boxing is different, yet effective, even explosive in his own right. So how would their boxing stack up if Crawford would fight a Mayweather in his prime and use his lasering shots against Mayweather's disciplined sweet science? Who would assert the jab first? Who would be the more effective counterpuncher? There are so many ways to see this play out that it might be best to declare this category a draw. How many times have we witnessed Mayweather lull and eventually lure his opponents to the middle of the ring, where he computed information, analyzed it, and uploaded a blueprint to pick his opponents apart? Mayweather took his ring IQ and mantra of hit and not get hit and essentially rode it to the Hall of Fame as an undefeated 5-division world champion. Crawford, in being crowned undisputed at junior welterweight and now welterweight, has shown a high ring IQ himself throughout his career. Mayweather demonstrated hand speed, especially on the counterpunching end, but Crawford's slashing angles and whiplashing delivery has Bud owning the advantage in speed. Of Mayweather's 50 wins, 27 came by way of knockout. That's in comparison to Crawford's 40 wins, 31 of them coming via knockout, and he's still active. Now, re-enter Crawford's wizardry over Spence, dropping him 3 times en route to a dominant 9th round TKO, decimating a power-punching, body-snatching fighter like Spence, who systematically broke down Kell Brook, Sean Porter, and Yordenis Ugas to become the unified world welterweight champion, was anything but easy, yet Crawford made it look easy, and his power was a big reason why. Mayweather painted in the corner, raising that shoulder into the Philly shell and absorbing shots with his arm while using his free hand to pick his punches was defensive boxing, turned counterpunching at its very finest.
Defensive fighter of all time. I mean, that's how strong. You're where and then he's nowhere. You think you can. And again, it's not just hand quickness. It's
Crawford has some slick defense to him as well, but Mayweather took defensive boxing skills to another level of damn near perfection. All dreamt up, how would Crawford against a prime Mayweather fight actually go? And who would win? After a tense first round where each boxer is trying to feel out the other, we see Crawford being the more active and busy fighter early on, launching and landing shots, even if many of them are absorbed by Mayweather's shoulder and elbow. By the middle rounds, Mayweather's style would set in as he'd pepper Crawford with jabs, banking some rounds.
the way he makes them miss. I mean, here we go. Through a series of punches and nothing really landed. Terrific fighter for Mayweather.
Yet, with a constant flow of pressure, Crawford's firepower could get to Mayweather, even enough to hurt the legend at times. As close as we see this one being, Crawford's fighting ability and those whiplashing punches might be just enough to have judges credit him on his pressure and volume en route to a points win over Mayweather's brand of boxing. Well, moving away from the comparison, going up in weight isn't as easy as it seems to many, and to up his game, Terence Crawford is hoping not to repeat the mistakes of Canelo Alvarez some years back when he faced Dimitri Bivol. Hence, Crawford is seeking as much help as possible. Canelo Alvarez's lofty ambition caught up with him after the pound-for-pound king met his match in the form of unbeaten World Boxing Association light heavyweight champion Dimitri Bivol. Alvarez, a 4-division champion, landed a career-low 84 punches overall 12 rounds, as Bivol relied on his defense and accurate punching to pull the upset via unanimous decision inside T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. All three judges scored it 115, 113 for Bivol in a fight that appeared anything but competitive, as CBS Sports scored it 119, 109 in favor of Bivol.
And Canelo wants more of it.
6 months after becoming the first undisputed super middleweight champion of the four-belt era, Alvarez moved back up to 175 pounds for the first time since claiming the World Boxing Council title via knockout from Sergey Kovalev in 2019. But during the same week he teased a possible future move to heavyweight, Alvarez was unable to break through the technical strength of Bivol, a former Russian amateur star whose strength is muting the offense of his opponents. Bivol's jab was on point throughout, and he consistently responded to any single punch landed by Alvarez with clean combinations in return. Bivol allowed Alvarez to stand at close range in front of him, but never gave him a clean enough strike zone to land upon. Most of the damage Alvarez did connect on was to the left shoulder and arm of Bivol, who stayed firm behind his high guard. Alvarez, whose previous lone defeat came against Floyd Mayweather in 2013, connected on just 17% of his punches against Bivol and was outlanded by a margin of 152 to 84, according to CompuBox. He also told reporters after that he thought he was ahead on the scorecards heading into the final rounds. He's a great champion. Sometimes in boxing, you win or lose. I lost today and he won, Alvarez said. He's a really good fighter. He's a fighter who comes in and goes out. I also felt his power. It was a good victory for him. It's in a bid to avoid such damage that Crawford has sought Mayweather's counsel. As for Floyd Mayweather, his records as a trainer and fighter speak for themselves. The most recent fighter that spent time with him shocked the world with a big win earlier this year. During a lengthy interview with Patrick Bet David on a podcast, Garcia, the junior welterweight contender from Victorville, Calif, opened up about his much-publicized friendship with Money May, making it clear that he respects the Hall of Fame fighter more than most people even within his inner circle. When Bet David asked which high-profile person in his life had the license to offer him harsh, unbaited criticism, "I want to know which GOAT greatest of all time you allow to privately kick your head," Garcia immediately named Mayweather. Floyd, Garcia said. I don't really speak when Floyd's talking, and I speak a lot. I'm a big talker. I don't speak when Floyd's talking. He tells me a bunch of things. I just shut up. Floyd can talk. Oh yeah, Garcia continued, and became an evangelist in the twinkle of an eye, saying, he's called me out, so it's like, what did Jesus say? Be wise as a serpent, gentle as a dove. He comes out as gentle. He doesn't come out aggressive, because I don't do that. God doesn't do that to me, unless it's bad, unless I'm really messing up. I can hear Floyd's voice and I can respect it. I don't really talk when he's speaking. He even says it, knows when to speak and knows when not to speak. Like those facts. I really respect Floyd more than a lot of people.
People don't think he cares about anything other than money, but that's a complete, just a fabrication. That's just what he shows. Like, does he care about money? Yes. Does he know how to make money? Yes.
Garcia then made reference to Mayweather's claims about the 3 games of boxing. Did he call me Canelo Alvarez, Gervonta Davis, the 3 faces of boxing? Yes. Garcia revealed that he was the one who suggested the idea to Mayweather, whom he claimed was overly impressed with his work ethic. That 3 o'clock in the morning run with Floyd? That was my idea, Garcia said.
But that's not the only thing he cares about. You know, inside his heart is a lot of love. A lot of love. And he shows all his people love, and he tries to do the right thing all the time.
Like, Floyd, let's go. Let's hit this run. Oh, wow. You know what Floyd told me on the run? I promise you this, as God is my witness. He looks me in the eye. It almost sounds like he's crying. You don't hear his voice get like this very few times. He goes, I respect you. Just like that, I respect you. Like, you know when Tyson chokes up? I respect you. And I was like, why Floyd? And I'm getting the chills all over my body because nobody's doing what you're doing. Nobody. Floyd calls me all the time and I'm running all the time. Floyd's like, I'm so proud of you.
I'm mistaken. He's under contract. So, you know, you always got to make sure things are worded right. before you get a lawsuit or before you get a letter from a boxer's promoter. If Ryan can go, and he didn't go with me.
Interestingly, the love isn't one-sided. Floyd Mayweather has also expressed his admiration for Ryan Garcia and his willingness to sign him as well, should he get out of his contract with Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions. Ben Thompson met Floyd Mayweather Jr. to discuss a range of topics covering boxing, and it started with the former champion and Ryan Garcia socializing. Mayweather Jr. replied that there was nothing more to the meetup besides being a casual get-together. Garcia had also visited the Las Vegas residence and saw the champion's car collection firsthand. Any boxer clever enough would know that the privilege to hang out with Floyd Mayweather is surely more than sightseeing, but a bigger opportunity to get lessons from the undefeated champion himself, and this exactly was what Ryan Garcia did.
I agree.
So a lot of guys think, well, please stop.
He learned from Floyd Mayweather and got the biggest win of his career. And while he trains Terrence Crawford for his next fight, he is also training for his fight in the coming month against John Gotti. But the 47-year-old is set to lace up the gloves again for another exhibition bout in what will be a rematch of his most controversial exhibition fights. 5-division world champion Floyd Mayweather and John Gotti III ended in an ugly brawl between the fighters and their camps. The contest was scheduled 8 2-minute rounds. Because the fight was sanctioned as an exhibition, no official winner was announced, and no judges were assigned to score the fight. Since retiring, Mayweather has taken part in numerous exhibition fights. The most high-profile exhibition fight to date was a clash with social media star Logan Paul in 2021.
50 and over. Starting out with that jab. Go straight to the body, too. Very nice.
Yep. Those hooks straight
right away.
30-year-old Gotti, the grandson of organized crime icon John Gotti, turned professional in boxing just a year before the fight. He also held a 5-1 record in mixed martial arts. Before the contest began, there was a loud Gotti chant from the crowd, a big delay before the start of the first round, because there was a mob of people in Mayweather's corner that security and others had to clear out. Once the first round started, Mayweather was toying with Gotti and began to unload with punches from the start. Gotti was pinned against the ropes and covering up, and not throwing much of anything in return. It was a complete mismatch with Mayweather landing whatever he wanted from all angles. Mayweather was dancing, trash-talking, and having fun in the ring. In the second, Mayweather was picking his spots with punches to the head and body. Gotti actually threw a few shots, but they were too slow and hit air. The third round saw Mayweather come out in a shell and dared Gotti to bring the fight to him. Gotti refused to take the bait.
Work out. Work out. Work out. Stop. He does. Upstairs, downstairs, back upstairs.
He tried to throw more punches, but not much landed. Mayweather continued to tag his body with hooks and then came back upstairs. Gotti was too slow with his punches to connect in the fourth. Mayweather pinned him against the ropes and began to unload with shots to the head and body. Gotti tried trash-talking and got popped to the face for his trouble. In the fifth, there wasn't much of anything from either guy, as Mayweather was taking his time and picking his shots. Before the start of the sixth, referee Kenny Bayless warned both men for their continued trash-talking and antics in the ring, and warned that he would stop the fight if they continued to ignore him. Bayless had warned them several times for their trading of obscenities during the bout. Once the round began, they continued to trash talk and use rough tactics, so Bayless had finally seen enough and waved off the fight.
Chop it again. Keep your hands up.
press conferences, the trash talking.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what makes it.
Once the fight was waved off, Gotti lost it and went after Mayweather, and they began to brawl. Both camps stormed the ring, punches were thrown by both sides, and there was an ugly mob scene that lasted for some time as the entire ring was filled with bodies. Even after Gotti and Mayweather were escorted out of the ring, fights erupted inside the ring between both camps, and the craziness continued outside of the ring. A member of Mayweather's team got on the mic and pleaded with those in attendance to safely leave the venue without further violence. This came after he canceled an exhibition fight against Victor Ortiz, who he defeated 13 years ago. Ortiz and Mayweather already have faced each other in September 2011, when Floyd Mayweather knocked out Vicious, after the latter landed a headbutt in the 4th round. Indeed, it wasn't one of Mayweather's proudest moments inside the ring, as his win was deemed by many as nothing short of controversial. Mayweather was slightly ahead in the scorecards, but Ortiz wasn't doing bad in the first 3 rounds.
Look where the hands are of Mayweather. He lunged forward.
However, things took a wild turn in the 4th when Vicious intentionally headbutted Money out of rage and frustration. Ortiz quickly apologized and was reprimanded by points deduction. Before Vicious gets to his fighting stance in the resume, Mayweather was already able to land a 1-2 combination that ultimately knocked Ortiz out. The humiliating loss significantly impacted Ortiz's boxing career in a negative way, as everything went downhill for him since that moment. And again, his exhibition fight against Mayweather went down the hill as well, as he was soon replaced by John Gotti. And that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality contents like this. Until next time, peace out.